Hey everybody, hope you are doing well. Look on the screen, look on the screen. Why is he on the
Saying the
screen?
risk is too great, a Cook County judge has ordered that Raylon East remain behind bars for what he calls the cold and calculated murder of two of his former co-workers. Raylon East is behind bars tonight, charged with the fatal shootings of two ex-co-workers at Navy Pier earlier this week. The 36-year-old South Shore resident has been charged with first-degree murder, an unlawful use of a weapon by a felon in connection with the November 5th slayings. East turned himself in a few days later and was arrested after authorities released images of him on public transportation.
So basically, I guess he rode the bus.
Described East as
he was fired from the job, then came back to kill the co-workers. This makes me think the prison mentality for this guy. He never should have been let out. He never should have been let out. Notice on the job, he was obviously reprimanded for what? Physical and verbal altercations. Listen.
disgruntled employee who worked for the Navy Restaurants, a hospitality and catering company, before he was fired on October 29th. The company says since being hired just over a year ago, East had been reprimanded for multiple verbal and physical aggressions toward his coworkers.
Verbal and physical aggressions toward his coworkers. No conflict resolution. I wonder if he thinks. I guess that's how he operated in prison. He served 8 years, aggravated robbery, I believe. So now you're out in the free world. You have a chance at freedom to start over. As my dad would say, too dumb to live. I'm saying too dumb to stay free. He's been in prison. They said he served 8 years. So you get fired from the job. Uh-oh. Now I got to find another job, pay my rent. I don't have it. You know what? I'm starting to think about this on the screen. I'm starting to think, aside from too dumb to stay free, it makes me wonder if he did this on purpose, just to get back in there. Why? I'm thinking he doesn't want to pay rent. Remember this jingle I did? That's what I think. He went back in the boys' club. 3 hots and a cot. Don't have to get up too early. Unless they tell you to. But 3 hots and a cot. Free TV, cable.
He don't wanna pay rent. He wanna live rent free. He don't wanna pay rent. A certified dusty. He don't wanna pay rent. That's why he stay with me. He don't wanna pay rent. A real man he'll never be. That's right.
No conflict resolution.
Dust bucket. Lazy, good for nothing. All they are just takers.
Yep.
Takers. Wherever they go, it's bound to be a you-know-what show. Dusty's been drama. Dusty's been trauma. The financial implication is just too much dust in the nation.
Okay.
He don't want to pay rent.
He want to live rent free. He don't want to pay rent. That's why. Dusty. He don't want to
pay rent. That's why he stay with
me.
He don't want to pay rent. A real man he'll never be. I'm out.
And that's what I think about this guy. Listen, I don't know if he stays with his mother, but I did this video. Remember when the dust bucket, the mother had asked about the rent? He set the house on fire. He set the back of the house on fire. Luckily, it was contained. So that video, in case you want to see it, is called Mama Ask About That Rent, and up in flames the house went. Why? So this right here, already served 8 years in prison. Aggravated robbery? Gets out, gets a job. Doesn't even know how to interact with society. This tells me that's where he belongs, like a caged animal. And he killed 2 men. Not that it matters, but 2 black men there, mature men. I'm sure they probably have families or loved ones. Not just verbal, but physical aggressions. Don't know how to walk away, how to get along. Prison mentality. Wore the and it was obviously, I think, premeditated and planned because he wore the little outfit, the little worker's outfit. I guess to make sure he could get in. And then trying to take off some of the clothing at different locations. Foolish cameras everywhere. A lot has changed since you served those 8 years. But look, somebody gave him an opportunity. That's the part that blows my mind. And on top of that, now 2 men are dead. 2 men dead. Oh, by the way, typically when a person dies on the job, there is what the company has to pay called a death benefit. I've seen in some states on average $100,000. Okay, that's my understanding. Each state may vary, but typically when people die on the job, the company pays what's called a death benefit because they died on the job. So now at that end, 2 people. Oh yeah, the company might get sued for hiring him. Yeah, the company might get sued. Then you wonder why, and it's sad. So many that are that have a background may come to the light and want to do right and get a job. You wonder why it's so hard. You wonder why some people don't want to take them on. I don't care if it's Dusty Dan, Mr. Juan doing wrong, Mr. Juan he do wrong too, Dusty Dan. That's why so many can't get a second chance. That's why so many can't get a second chance. So now, who knows? Those families of those 2 men, they might sue them.
For multiple verbal and physical aggressions toward his coworkers.
Multiple verbal and physical aggressions toward his co-workers. Wow.
In court, prosecutors say after being let go weeks earlier, East left his Southside home that morning dressed in his cook's uniform and used public transportation to go to Navy Pier. Detectives say that's how he was able to gain entry into the business. Once inside, he went into a private office area near the loading dock. Prosecutors say he confronted his former co-workers, 51-year-old Lamont Johnson and 47-year-old Peter Jennings, and shot both of them in the head. The victims.
Wow. Now, correction. They only showed the picture of one was African American man. Not that it matters, but it's 2 men. So I think I said 2 black men. It was one that they showed a picture was African American man, but it doesn't matter. He took the lives of 2 people. And here's the crazy thing. He got himself fired. You did this. What was he expecting? Some kind of street code? If I come in here and talk crazy to you, I become verbally aggressive and physically aggressive. You just take it. You don't know who I'm is. Well, I know you're going to live. He needs to be put up underneath the jail. This, oh my gosh. The co-workers are the innocent people, in my opinion. It's you. You're the reason you're fired. Wow.
In the head. The victims, who later died at the hospital of their wounds, were eventually discovered by other employees.
Isn't that something? One dust bucket. They say one bad apple ruins a whole barrel. So stop and think. The 2 men, and they showed a picture of one, they were shot in the head and then discovered by employees. Can you imagine people are working and they stumble up on a body, stumble up on 2 bodies? Somebody might call out scared, PTSD, all because of a Dusty. Dangerous, diabolical Dusty is how I see him.
The victims, who later died at the hospital of their wounds, were eventually discovered by other employees. Meanwhile, authorities say East threw the weapon he allegedly used in the murders into the lake before taking public transportation to flee. Chicago Police Department divers recovered the weapon. Chicago police launched an exhaustive search. Investigators say the Kenwood High School graduate dressed in several layers of clothing to commit the murders. Authorities released security and surveillance images of a person they say was Raylon East, discarding different items of clothing at various times to avoid detection. Police say Raylon East is a convicted felon who was sentenced to 8 years in prison for aggravated robbery.
Aggravated robbery, 8 years. Raylon, you know what I think about Raylon? I think Raylon is a dum-dum. Raylon, I consider him Raylon the homicidal, diabolical dum-dum. Did he think he was going to get away? That's my question. Did he think he was going to get away? Or maybe he did this to make sure, hey, take out 2. I won't never have to pay rent again, man. I'll go back in there with my home and my dog. This sounds so premeditated. Put the uniform back on. Don't forget, took public transportation. He took public transportation. And I'm sure it'll happen. He took public transportation. So that tells me you had time to pop. Well, think about it. He knew what he was going to do. That's what I think. And he's a felon, so you're not supposed to even have a gun, but he had one. Shot him in the head. Dude, he never should have been let out. Let me know what you all think. Think about it. 2 wrongful death settlements, that's a high probability. Then the company might get sued by both families because they hired this thing on the screen, labeled as a human being. They hired him. Somebody hired him, gave him a chance, and look what happened. Then workers discovered the body, probably just freaking out, screaming, having nightmares. Oh my gosh! So I think it's no conflict resolution. Don't know how to communicate. Physical and verbal aggressions. What the hell is this? You're not on cell block 8. Don't know how to maintain themselves in society. Don't know how to get along with people. Too dumb to stay free. And that's why they gave him a chance and they had to fire him. So I think maybe he didn't want to pay rent. That's a possibility. I knew man, get rid of them, piss me off. They gonna know that Raylon is the one. I don't play that. He needs to be locked up. So again, too dumb to stay free. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share. I think he doesn't want to pay rent. He wants to stay rent free. Stupid and so dangerously. He just doesn't deserve to be free. So here's a jingle. This is Raylon, man. I ain't playing it. I'll let you know. And off to prison he needs to go. Oh my gosh. Don't breathe with the seed of poverty, D. Dangerous, diabolical, dusty.
He don't wanna pay rent. He wanna live rent free. He don't wanna pay rent. A certified dusty. He don't wanna pay rent. That's why he stay with mommy. He don't wanna pay rent. A real man he'll never be. That's right. Dust buckets, lazy, good for nothing. All they are just takers. Wherever they go, it's bound to be a you-know-what show. Dusty's been trauma. The financial implication is just too much dust in the nation. He don't wanna pay rent. He wanna live rent free. He don't wanna pay rent.
My dance on y'all.
Dusty. He don't wanna pay rent. That's why he stay with me. He don't wanna pay rent. A real man he'll never be. I'm out.
This is Raylon. And I hope they lock up Raylon for the rest of his life where he belongs. I don't play that, man.